Hi everyone, let's get MumTalks started. So before we begin, let me get each mum to introduce themselves, to share their name, their occupation, what they do during their free time, and one thing they love about being a mum. So let's start with Carol.
So thank you for having me. My name's Carol and I'm a mother of two. My firstborn is 13 and my second one is 12. I'm a confidence coach. I work predominantly with women on women empowerment, women in leadership.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, so what hobbies do you have?
Hobbies, I love to read.
Oh, same. Yeah, I'm a book nerd. Then, so what kind of books do you read during your free time?
Personal development.
Oh, that's great. I actually love those. I know some people hate it, but I really enjoy it.
Yeah, me too. I find it very encouraging for me in a sense now. I feel like I have to learn how to grow myself and then to improve myself so that I can be leading by example for my children.
Exactly. Yeah, same thing. So what is one thing that you love about being a mom?
I get to see them grow up.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think you're the most senior mom among all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a lot of questions to ask you. Okay, so how about you, Alexia?
Hi everyone, my name's Alexia. I am a doula. I have 3 children. My eldest is primary 5 now, so 11, and I also have a pair of 5-year-old twins.
You have twins?
Yes, I do have twins.
Oh my god! Wait, what are their genders?
One boy, one girl.
Okay, so my turn. Hi everyone, my name is Masha. I'm the head of study skills here in FPE. I have 2 going to 3 children. They are 3 and 4, and the upcoming one will come next year. Yeah, so next year there will be the 3rd one coming. I'm really excited about that. And one thing I really love about being a mom is how it keeps the childlike in me active, because I always need to play and I always need to go back to understand the psychology behind the children. And I think that's the secret to youthfulness, honestly. Okay, so we do have one person with us who is not a mom. She's actually a mentor right here. Her name is Heidi. Hi Heidi.
Hi.
So can you please introduce to us your name, your age, what course you're in, and why you chose to be a study skills specialist with us?
Right. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Heidi. I'm currently 21 years old and I'm also a year 2 psychology student in NUS. So I chose to be a study skills mentor because I really enjoy teaching and I also really believe in equipping the next generation of children with study skills, because studying is something we have to do for such a long time, right? Like for me, I've been studying for like 15 years probably. So I want to make it a positive experience for them by equipping them with the skills that they need so that they won't struggle in the long run. Yeah.
Right, so would you say you struggled when you were a kid?
I think I did struggle when I was in secondary school because it is like, especially for mathematics, it's like so difficult for me because it's really not my strong suit. Yeah, and I think I needed, if I had known like skill sets, like maybe Pomodoro on helping me focus during like doing like all these mathematics, then maybe it would be better.
Alright, yeah, I totally agree with you. Same thing, hated mathematics all the way. So thanks for sharing, Heidi. Today is the final day of June holidays, right? So tomorrow kids are going back to school. And I know that you guys literally just landed back in Singapore, right? Just a couple of days ago. So can you guys share with me how was your June holiday like? Let's start with Carol.
I mean, spending time with family is always the best thing, I would say, because we were back in Germany to celebrate my father-in-law's 80th birthday.
Wow,
Yeah, so the kids really wanted to have this moment. So it's just really spending quality time, and it's great for me to see how the kids interacted with their grandparents. I think culture-wise, it's a little bit different from Singapore context, right? My parents are very very typical Asian. They don't do a lot of touching and kissing and all. So that when the kids hug them, especially my dad, right, he would freeze one, like, oh, okay. Yeah, over here, because of it's so easy to go around Singapore. This bus is cheap, taxi is cheap, and easily accessible through MRTs and all. But then in Germany, you have to really drive and go everywhere.
Oh.
Yeah, if you want to get somewhere. So then they get to be driven around with my in-laws. And then
Oh,
so
that's
because there's 2
great.
of them, right? My Rory and Max, and they have each have individual personal
Chauffeur.
attention time. Yeah, chauffeurs as well. Yeah, and then they get to go out and spend that kind of time with them. So and then also they get to go out to do walks with my grandparents.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
so something
great.
that we don't do here regularly.
So what did a typical day in Germany look like for you guys?
Wow, okay, typical day, they wake up, they come down and help my mother-in-law to prepare breakfast. Then we will sit down, we will just sit and eat and chit-chat. Usually it's easy, right, when it comes to food.
Yeah.
So we chit-chat. Then they can go out for a walk, or they can do a little bit of reading together. Then when the weather is good, we have like a landscaper that comes in to help to do some weeding of the garden. Then sometimes they go out into the garden when the weather is good. But we had a bit of a rainy day, but they still go out to walk.
What about you, Alexia? What do you guys do over the June holidays?
We actually took a week off. We went to Bali. Chill, and then it so happens that because Xavier's birthday falls in the middle of June, so I actually planned it such that there's a day trip we took to Nusa Penida. So it's just like one of the smaller islands away from Bali main island, and I took him snorkeling and everything. So it was amazing.
How old is he?
He's 11.
You can go snorkeling.
Yeah. The main thing is that you have to be able to swim, right?
But then how do they test that? Like just throw him.
They actually don't test you. Like
Right,
they just
exactly.
like you just declare that you can swim. And
Okay.
like the route was like the first drop off was supposed to be Manta Bay, and this manta raised in the bay. But because he was like getting used to it, so he missed it.
Oh,
but then
no.
later on, right, because like these Bali folks are very smart. They actually like in the package tour, like you sign up for them snorkeling, they will actually have like their crew members like snorkeling together with you, and they use GoPro cameras to take photos of you and videos of you and
Wow.
everything. And then at
Great
the end of
service.
the day, yeah, and then he just and then they just upload everything for you, and then they said, oh, you have 24 hours to download. So we actually got to see the manta rays through the videos. I mean, it was a pity that we missed it, but still, it was great knowing that the manta ray was probably just like
A few meters.
a few meters away. Yeah, it was a good sized manta ray too. It wasn't too small.
Oh.
Yeah, so I think now that Xavier's had a taste of it, he wants to go back
More.
again. And then the twins were like, they can't really swim yet, so I didn't take them on the snorkeling, but we spent a lot of time at the beach. And then it was really great. I also took them to see the traditional Balinese kecak dance. So yeah, so like they was like, what is this about? Why are we here? It's so hot.
It's
you
my
know?
roots.
I'm like, no, you see it. And then once like, the dance started, then they were like, oh wow, this is pretty cool. That last year, June, I did take the three kids alone to Taiwan.
Wow, that is a salute. Have you ever brought the kids overseas all by yourself?
Maybe just one flight from Germany to France, but that is really nothing compared to what she did. Oh my god!
Yeah, how long were you at Taiwan for?
We're there for 6 days, 5 nights.
That's actually amazing. Wow.
But because of that, I like traveling, and every time like there's like kids like on like school holidays, I feel like it's a waste that we don't go somewhere. I mean, I
agree.
appreciate that the conveniences in Singapore, but then because in my previous job, I'm like used to traveling. And like I would always find time to like seek out like local stuff, and I really want my kids to experience that, and then sometimes like school holidays, if my husband has to work and the schedule doesn't work out, I don't want to feel like we can't do anything because my husband is not able to make it. So it's like, come on, let's just go.
Yeah, women can do anything. So when it comes to Xavier, any specific challenges?
Xavier, he's more, I would say, because he's more highly sensitive.
Okay.
Because he was like the only child for like 6 years, right? And the twins were born, he started primary 1. Then barely gotten used to it, then like the lockdown happened, So he became very antsy, very anxious, and it would actually manifest as like anger, So he would just be like really upset over the smallest of things, like if somebody changed like his timing, or like changed like the menu for like the dinner, he would just get so upset. So it took a while for him to like adapt and settle down and everything.
Right.
Yeah, and then of course when as a parent you're busy dealing with the emotional front of it, then it kind of like spilled over into like his attitude towards school as well. Because he felt like, we were just pushing him to school so that we get to spend time at home with the brothers and sisters instead of him.
He said that?
Yeah, later on he's like, why are you always sending me, to this class? Or you're so happy whenever you drop me off at school. Is it because you want to spend more time with, my brother and sister?
He's P5 this year,
He's
right?
P5 this year.
Do you see the big change in the workload?
I think it's not so much the workload. I think it's like the complication, the advancedness of like the subject and the topics. He actually was quite pleased that, you know, when he took the lessons with you guys, right? He was like, oh, I've been actually doing that. You know, some of the skills that I just didn't know that it was called like Pomodoro method or, you know, whatever it's called. Like other skills, sorry, I'm not very good with the terminology.
Yeah.
That, like, Xavier will be the one
time
that,
management, focusing.
yeah. And then so like basically like he did realize himself like the quality of like his homework had increased, like, you know, after he took lessons with you guys. And then now it's just a matter of like, okay, how are we going to integrate that, you know, in P5 when like the demand is actually a bit higher, you know, in terms of like complications, like to the math question, like it's a little bit more complicated, it's a little bit more advanced, you know, how do you like answer a science question like more precisely so you get the full grades rather than just like, you know, half a mark taken off because you didn't use that specific terminology, etc.
Right.
Yeah. So we're slowly figuring that out.
Yeah, I remember this is quite similar to what Rory experienced, right? When she was in the P6 when she joined us, right? So what challenges did Rory face back then?
Well, I just like not knowing, you know, how to go about doing it. And the thing is also, she felt that she was unable to ask the teachers for help. But she didn't, okay, first of all, it's like, she didn't know what kind of help was needed. She's unable to vocalize. And the teachers, he has 40 kids in the class, so teacher can't give individual attention to those.
Sometimes more.
Yeah, so
43.
she find that, you know, she's unable to connect with the teachers in a sense to really ask questions. So she's like, well, I need somebody to tell me, you know, like how to go about doing it. What is step 1, step 2, step 3? And then, you know, how do I structure? She's like, I need somebody who's able to tell me what to do. And also because of I would say when it comes from the parents, it's like she felt like a lecture to her.
Right.
So she was rejecting my suggestions.
Right.
She's like, can you not tell me what to do? But I was like, but you needed help, right? Isn't this what you want? So I'm giving you, I'm just sharing with you what I did. Yeah. So there's a lot of conflict as well. So we had a lot of fight. She felt that I was pushing her to, you know, to meet certain expectations. I can't help you internally, then we look outside, go to tuition centers.
Right.
So tutors can help her to a certain extent. But the tutors also have certain KPIs in order to meet so that they can. So then they're also pushing her. So can you just do more homework, more practice. Yeah, just do more worksheets, you know, do more assessment books.
So how did that make Rory feel?
She felt very stifled. Yeah, and then she came home and then she cried to me and it's like, you know, I don't even understand what's the purpose of studying.
Oh no, it's a full breakdown.
It was, and I said, okay, so what do you need? She said, it's like, I don't want you all to just to push me. Yeah, I need something a little bit different. And I guess the phone heard it, so I saw an ad on Facebook.
Everything.
Yeah, so so then that's how I saw an ad on Facebook and then decided to call.
Right. Yeah, that's great to hear because I remember during the consultation call, I watched it, you had it with Emma, right? She was actually very clear in what she wanted. She knew exactly what was wrong and that's why she came to find the solution. So what do you think the mentor did differently or what did the mentor do that helped Rory like break through?
Well, I guess she came from a place like an elder sister, right? Because Rory is the firstborn. So there's certain kind of unspoken expectation for her to be mature. You know, she needed that mentor figure, and that's what the mentor did for her, like an older sister. So it's like to her, I've been through this whole process. Just a few years ago, you know, I understand how you feel. So when it comes from somebody like this, it's a bit different coming from a parent. She felt that, you know, she's able to connect with someone. So in fact, she looked forward to the lessons. Yeah, and then, you know, and she would say, okay, this is my homework. It's unlike the, you know, the homework that the teachers give, you know. She would like, okay, I'll just pull off to the last minute, then I'll do it. Then she would actually systematically arrange her time in such a way to complete the task. And she enjoyed it in the process. And then after she kind of tell me, I actually like the way, you know, I study. At first, using the Pomodoro method, she was like, I study 30 minutes, then I rest for 30 minutes. No, you don't do that. Yeah, it shouldn't be. But okay, you learn at your own pace. And then finally, when she got it, she felt, hey, you know what? I have a sense of accomplishment as a parent. I always thought that I have to be the one to teach her. I have to be the one to pass on the knowledge. The teachers are there to just to guide them. It's all on me. And I was really happy and also grateful for the assistant. Yeah, so she was able to right now she's self-sufficient in a way. She would come home from school and say, okay, Mom, I need to do my homework. I was like, wow, this is very new.
Even till now in secondary school?
Even till now.
Wow.
Yeah, and she would arrange her own time and she was like, okay, this is my timetable. She didn't even need to show it to me. She would know what she needed to do and then she would arrange her time on her own. And I have to say it didn't come from me, 100%. She learned and she applied the tools and she's doing very well in school.
Yeah, you shared with me previously, right? Like things that she used to not do well, now she's actually doing really well.
Yeah, mathematics was a struggle for her. So I was worried for her. She said, no, it's so much easier. I understand the right kind of questions to ask the teacher, and then she's able to pick up somehow. I don't know what what you guys did, what was actually taught. She was quite secretive about it, but I'm just glad that it works. And then geography, that's her favorite subject right now. And she scored full marks in the last
that's amazing.
exam. I was like, this is crazy academy. Even for in my own personal standard, I've never done well at all in geography.
Yeah, definitely. So it sounds like you have experienced a lot of the positive impacts from the program. What about your other family members or your husband particularly?
He definitely saw the difference. At first he was like, oh, this is so expensive. Why do you need to pay this kind of money? I said, let's put it this way. If we were to put her to tuition, 2 subjects, right? Let's do the math. Over a certain period of time, 2 years, 3 years, we would have surpassed the amount. Yeah, and if she's going to be happy, you see all this fighting and all this crying, it's not. I don't think it's worth it. If you're going to spend this amount of money right now, and then she gets a lifelong skill that she can apply, I think that is good amount of money to spend.
Right, so you managed to say, I told you so.
Well, not exactly, but he was like, she better, do this. Okay, for the whole 12 weeks, I want to make sure that she hit a certain KPI. But that's what my husband is. Yeah, so it's like, better do something and better show me good results. I say, well, first of all, nobody can guarantee good results, but you have to see the change in the attitude.
Yeah.
And then as of now, he saw the changes and saw how happy she is.
Right.
And then he looked at me and looked at him. I don't have to say I tell you so, but
you should.
Yeah, but he saw that, and because of that, even though he did not experience the process, he wasn't really part of the whole interview process and the engagement process. But he said, why don't you talk to this friend about it? He's another friend whose daughter is in P5 this year. Yeah, going through something similar with Rory, and he said, okay, maybe I can talk to him and see how we can introduce those principles to them.
That's great to hear. So it sounds like there is a lot of improvement in the quality of life, right? Less shouting, less nagging. So what was the main improvement you've seen in your quality of life?
I would say the change in attitude. Because right now, for her, because she didn't feel that she's being pushed, and she was also able to give advice to her younger brother. Oh, this is how I do it. Maybe you want to give it a try. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, confidence is definitely for sure.
Yeah, so Rory did share with us during the consultation call what her dream school was. So did she manage to achieve that dream?
Yeah, she got into her dream school, which is her first choice. Well, because the cutoff point for the school was quite tight, and I was worried based on her results throughout the primary school as well as the prelim. I was really kind of worried whether if she's able to make the mark, first of all. And we went through DSA, so that was an advantage, took some points off. But most importantly, it's she managed to get into the school because she was afraid of the points, but at the same time, she actually worked for it. I told her, I said, this is the based on the previous, this is the minimum mark that you have. Right now, you are just a few points away
really
to hit the cutoff point. Yeah, so let's work towards that.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
and she
great.
really pushed herself to go to
That's
that.
great. Yeah, it did sound like it.
Yes, and she's very happy because for her it's like, yes, I made it. Yeah.
It's a good feeling, right?
It
It's a
is.
great feeling when you really put in the effort and you get what you want. So do you think that Rory going into the school of her dreams really helped to ease your worry?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I was afraid. I guess it's like I come from a system where if you don't do well in exams, you are kind of like doomed.
Right. In what sense?
In what sense? It's like, well, because we're so academically driven during my time. So if you don't get good grades, that's what being drilled into my mind when I was a child, right, growing up. You know, if you don't go to school, you don't do well, you don't get a good grades, you don't get a good job, then your life basically ruined. And then Singapore being quite a competitive country, right? It's like if you don't make it, right, you're kind of doomed in a way.
Many people say that we are steering away from that, but I think it's still the reality today.
Yeah, somehow. I guess it's like during this transitional period, we can't really be that in that zone yet.
Have you gone for any programs to try to help Rory in this?
No, this is the first time, which is completely different from what we know. Because for me, it's like, okay, if you aren't good in grades, you go for tuition, and then that was it, and that was the road that I went through. Yeah, so this was completely new, and my husband was also very worried. It's like, is this gonna work? Yeah.
Right, and it did.
It did.
It did. Yeah, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
Okay, so how is your coaster going?
Not much progress.
Oh no. Okay, then let me ask you a question, Carol. All right, so I know it's going to be the big PSLE, right, coming for Xavier. So what would you say is your greatest concern for him?
I think my concern is not so much about whether he does well or not. My concern is like, how would he feel if, he has not tried his best and he laments that, he didn't put in his best foot forward. Plus, like, my husband belongs to the old school type. It's like, you have to, do very well. My husband is actually very academically accomplished.
Oh,
so
okay.
he and I are opposite ends. I hated the school system. He loved the school system. So like, he feels that, the school system was designed in a certain way and it should work because, the Singapore government. And I told him, like, no, it doesn't work that way. You have to find, what is going to make Xavier tick, and whatever worked for you, it probably not going to work for Xavier. And as he's growing up, it is showing that whatever works for you is not really going to work for him. Then I don't want Xavier to have that burden of forever performing because he is trying to fulfill someone's expectations. He should be wanting to perform because it brings him joy, it brings him confidence, it brings him, the satisfaction that he accomplished it on his own. Sounds like it's a lot of pressure for primary 5 kids, but I feel that the process needs to start now in a way. Like, even if it's like, he doesn't get to the school that he really wants to, even if he doesn't get, to the grades that he really wants, but I feel that it would actually boost himself, in his psyche, in his confidence, psychologically, because I would rather that he makes some mistakes, the more severe mistakes now in primary school than later on when, like, the stakes are higher.
Definitely.
Yeah. So that's how I feel. That's my take.
Yeah, so I totally agree with you. And you're very eloquent, so you put it really well. But because you're a coach as well, I think that's why you have the skills. So do you think there's a difference when you are the one who coach your own child versus getting a mentor? Oh, okay.
For sure.
So what differences?
Because like, when you are when you're communicating with your own child, I feel that there's always this power struggle, whether you like it or not, going on. Right? Your child's job is to always test the parents' boundaries.
Always.
And then it's like they want to, because you are the only one, who will manja them. You are the only one who will be like, they are willing, they're actually more willing to test your boundaries versus a teacher's boundaries. Because they know that at the end, you will love them unconditionally. You're the parent. So when it comes to teaching children, like my own children, myself, I've come to a piece with like, I may not be the best candidate. I would actually rather spend quality time with them, knowing them as a person, rather than making them sit down and be like, you need to finish this, you need to do this, I mean, there has to be a balance because I can't outsource everything, right? But then there needs to be a balance. Like, that's the reason why I hired a higher mother tongue teacher for Xavier, because I could do the same thing, but it takes me 3 hours. And probably the job is not as great. And then, like, there's a lot of like arguments, a lot of fights, there's a lot of like, and then the results is like, oh, great.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. So, what would you say Chichun did that really changed things for Xavier?
I think it helped that Chichun was younger. So like,
Dang it.
no, I mean, it's like, that's one of the amazing things that I realized about like first Personalised, is that all the mentors are current students.
Right.
So they're younger. So for certain parents, I can understand that probably there's some apprehensions. So young, like, can teach or not? Right? But then I feel that that is an added advantage because our children, in a way, they are still young, but they are also looking for older kids that they can relate to. So like, when Chi-Chun was like asking Xavier, so what do you like to do? Oh, I like to play online games. And then Chi-Chun and him can actually talk about like Roblox and Minecraft, how the game works and everything. And I'm just like, okay, you guys continue the conversation. I don't know anything.
Outsource.
yeah, I don't know anything. Yeah, and then he's also willing to tell more, like he's more willing to be more candid around Chi-Chun. It's like, oh, I did this, my friends did that, my friends said this, So there was this very nice, like, sense of like camaraderie between like, the two of them. Like,
Right,
even
like
though
a-
like,
like elder brother.
Yeah, because
Right.
Xavier is also the eldest. So he does have like, like what Carol said, like the eldest, they have like a sense of like, pressure,
who do I look up to?
like, a responsibility, but then they don't know who else to look up to play. Yeah, so it was great that, Chi-Chun was able to play that, elderly, sort of like elderly brother
Right.
role to him, and then he was willing to like actually pay attention most of the time. Even though it's online.
Most of the time. Yeah, that's my next question, because I remember during a consultation call with Emil,
Yeah.
one of your greatest concern was that our main mentoring, like all of our mentoring sessions are online.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how were the sessions? Did you have to always be around? What were you doing? Are you even at home?
I know half the time I wasn't at home because like I work as a doula, right? So my schedule is not, most of the time if I'm on call, then my schedule is not, I cannot dictate my schedule. Somebody has to give her, I gotta go. So then I was like, once like, that happened, like first time around when I wasn't around, then she showed out there. I was like, all right, okay, this could work. Because back then, Xavier also had like issue with screen. He would lose track of time. He would spend hours, and then even though I've tried like changing passwords to like iPads and devices, he would like always be able to find a way around.
Kids are smart.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he, every time I took devices away, he would get so angry and so upset. And I felt like it was just doing more harm than good.
Right.
So that's why I was very apprehensive when you guys said that, the lessons were all
online. Yeah.
And then especially like, what if I'm not going to be around, he's just going to go online,
Right.
when the lessons are over, then like where then it throws off like, the kind of boundary that I've set for him for screen time.
So what did Chi-Chun do that assured you that it's actually okay to leave them alone?
I think
still
because
gets your
because he was very good with updating, and then I did see that Xavier would finish, the assignments that Chi-Chun set out to him for him.
For Rory was like during the lesson when she talks a lot. She's like, this is like a chit chat session. I was like, why do you talk so much? Or rather, I only hear you talking. How do I talk to Jiaxin, which is the mentor? Do I talk to her and say, can you give me a feedback? But then I don't want to stress her out as well. So I just have to trust the process. That was a very difficult thing for me to do. I feel that. Yeah. But then it's like looking at how she felt so happy after each session, she was like, immediately, okay, I get to work right now because this is the task I'm given. I need to complete it. Okay, I just let her be. Yeah. So that was also a good opportunity, in fact, for me to. It's also, I'm also learning at the same time how to parent, not like a helicopter mom as well.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Did Rory have any issues when it came to the online platform?
No, because HBL was, I think it was already introduced since P1 before COVID hit.
Since P1?
Yeah, so every month they have like a one-day home-based learning. So I thought that was a good thing to get them started. And then even for the school, they already started to introduce the tablets.
Oh.
Yeah.
So how did you fit our sessions in Rory's busy schedule? Because I know she has a lot of things going on. Does the lessons being online help with that?
Yeah, definitely. It cuts down on the commuting time because previously she would spend an hour, in fact 2 hours every week commuting to the tuition center.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. In fact, the days that she had tuition was after CCA. It's in the late afternoon.
Oh no.
So I saw that she was at a space that she was mentally tired. So she wasn't even trying at one point. She was like, I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't know why I'm studying. In fact, so she would ask me things like, I don't know, this doesn't even make any sense, you know, like for example, for Chinese, what am I going to be using it for work, right? Can I just do something different, maybe a skills-based kind of thing? Then English, why do I want to, we are speaking English every day, you know? So we have all this back and forth then. But then having the mentorship program in place, I saw that the change of attitude as well. She was happy to finally have somebody. So I guess what Sachin did for her for the first few minutes of every session that they meet up was to ask about her day. Then she would go like the first few minutes, just talk about her day. Sometimes you share her, she look upon her like an older sister.
Oh, that's
so
nice.
She would say, talk to her about issues at school, you know, girls' issue between friends, you know, jealousy stuff. And the whole session wasn't very, I wouldn't say, it's not like a typical tuition kind of a session where it's okay, you sit down, you know, it's very stern and cold environment. You're given a worksheet, you're expected to finish at the end of the session. Right? So there's a lot of back and forth. So I also hear a lot of that laughter when you are doing something. You know, like I had my doubts. I was wondering, like, all this laughter, is she learning something? Like, what am I paying for? You know? Yeah, I was right. Sometimes my husband worked from home. He was like, are they having a session? Well, why is she like having so much laughter inside the room?
You and your husband has actually spent, you guys have spent a lot of money on her education back then. So just out of curiosity, like what kind of things do you spend on? What kind of education programs do you spend on?
Just tuition, different
just
tuition.
purely tuition.
Purely tuition, different
Right.
tuition. You know, when she does one-on-one with the tutor, Chinese tutor, and she felt that it was difficult. Even though, yeah, she has a personal attention, but she also feel that, you know, someone's breathing down her neck, and she hated that. She actually hated that.
Okay.
So I said maybe we would try a group setting, go to a tuition center. Then if there's other people around, she can maybe interact with someone. You know, she's a very friendly person. She likes to talk and engage with other people. So maybe she can get to know some other people.
Did that work?
Yeah, that works. But then she ended up talking a lot in class.
Okay.
Yeah.
Common theme going on.
Yeah, even in school. So she's there, you
Right.
know, to socialize a lot more than she's learning.
Right.
So then, of course, the teacher doesn't really. Then at that time, you know, she didn't put a stop to it. She wasn't controlling the whole lesson. So then it's okay, maybe even we try another
Okay.
center. So it was like there was a lot of like changes. So when we changed it, actually it disrupts her way of learning as well. When it took her a long time to get used to a certain routine and to get used to the new teacher, and then we have to switch again. Yeah. So that
Right.
was tough on her, even tough on us as well, because we have to also decide. We don't know which is good, right? So we have to actually pay to find out. Yeah.
Right. So do you guys still rely on tuition now that she's in
No,
secondary
she
school?
totally stopped tuition. In fact, after the program, we stopped tuition after PSLE. We were told the tutors that we want to give it a try and see whether if she's able to use this skill and then to bring it on to the following year. And in fact, it was also at the recommendation for email as well. So maybe just for Sec 1, just let her, you know, that one is actually a time for her to get into a new routine.
Yeah.
Right? So just try it out. If you know, if it doesn't work for the first 6 months, then you can think about the alternative. So yeah, I'm glad I heed the advice. And yeah, she's doing very well.
Oh, that's great to hear. Yeah. So is our program the biggest investment you spent so far?
But yes, absolutely. But then, as what I told my husband, if we were to continue tuition every single year until she finished Sec 4, right, we would have paid, I think, multiple times, 10 times, probably 10 times, a lot more.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
the thing is, like, we want to have peace at home between the two of us because there was a lot of fights, a lot of tears.
Oh, why? Why does tuition lead to fight?
Because she felt that I was trying to mold her into something that she isn't. Yeah, and then, you know, she's living my dream, not hers. Yeah, and then she felt that I was controlling as well. Yeah, so during that period, we had a lot of quarrels. So this is something that money cannot buy. But in a way, money actually bought that. We paid for the program, but then we had peace at home. You know,
Right.
she's happier.
So money can buy happiness.
Yeah, for this instance,
Right.
absolutely. I would say yes.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
So who's the hardest person to convince when investing in this program?
My husband definitely. Yeah.
Right. So why was it difficult for him, and how do you overcome that?
Yeah, because it's something totally new. But tuition is we all know how tuition works, right?
Right.
If you're not good at a particular subject, then you have extra lessons as in a form of tuition. The teacher will teach you the techniques for mathematics, the various formula, how to so-called cheat the system in a way. He had learning difficulties when he was much younger. So he felt that, you know, the help that he was given back then, right, structures and tools, you know, in the traditional learning environment, the school environment, it actually helped him in his development and growth. But I had to constantly remind him that our children aren't us.
Right.
Yeah. So what works for him may not work for Rory, because she's more kinesthetic. So it's just different ways of learning. And I say I don't have the skill set, you know. I don't have the knowledge as well. So we need to try something new. If the traditional way of doing things here in Singapore is going to tuition, and that didn't actually yield much result. To be very frank, she would maybe improve and getting a little bit better in terms of the grades. You know, after 6 months, a year of tuition. Yeah, and then okay, this is not working, maybe this teacher is not so good, then we should switch to another center. It improved a little bit, but we didn't see anything that was lasting.
So the big difference is that she has the power right now to make the decisions for herself.
Because she saw what she could do. Yeah, so that is, the whole process was empowering for her. And it came from a space that is not from the parents. You know, it's externally. She's able to receive that, and she learned through that process through the mentorship. Yeah. So I think that is more valuable, something that she can carry on throughout her life into adulthood, and she may be able to impart what she has learned to her children. Yeah, that's something that I was never able to do so for her.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm happy with that.
All right, so Alexia, so my question for you is that, because you're a coach yourself, right?
Yes.
So when looking for programs, especially for your own kids,
Yeah.
what are your key considerations?
Key considerations, of course, is how applicable will it be for my kids and the family, right? Because of the nature of my job, right? I cannot be very rigid about timings or locations. I need it to be, is it accessible? You know, is it some place that, you know, if I get called to work, right, and I'm not around, is it some place that Xavier can actually travel to himself? And is the route safe? Is it easy? Can he come back by himself? Because my husband also travels a lot for work, so the majority of like the ferrying around children still falls to me. But I cannot predict when my clients will go into labor.
Right.
2 would be, what's the content, right? Because like, as you all know, like there's a lot of like tuition centers in Singapore, and then there's like always like, you know, like a lot of recommendations, you know,
Right.
and even like a lot of tuition centers these days, they take to social media to actually kind of like showcase what they're teaching, how they're teaching, and everything. So I've been through my fair share of like, you know, tuition. Like I didn't sign up Xavier for tuition specifically, but sometimes when during school holidays come around, then they have like a holiday program. Then it's maybe like 2-3 days or whatever. Then if it's applicable, I'll send him in. And it's also my way of testing how the tuition center actually teaches. And then because it's a short-term commitment, maybe, and then the amount is not too much, then I'm like, okay, let's see, and whether if it works or it doesn't work. And I don't need to be too stressed about like, oh no, I already paid up this amount of money, I'm committed like for like one whole term, I have to finish it. You know, and I'm actually not a fan of tuition because I was a victim of like over tuition in my childhood. So I like nearly tuition for almost everything except for like Chinese. So I really hated tuition. I'm like, no.
Why though? Why do you hate tuition?
Because like what Carol said, it's just like, you know, it's very cold, you have more homework, and then you are expected to like finish it at the end of class. You can't, you have to bring it home, and then or like they will give you the stuff in class, then you're bringing extra stuff, you know. And it's just not fun, and plus like traveling back and forth, it just takes up like all that much time. What I actually need him to learn is skills that can take him through school and beyond.
Right.
And it's not something that, you know, and it's like what is lacking in school. I was like even thinking to myself that what is lacking in school. I'm always complaining that schools don't teach life skills anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then like then from what the testimonials that you guys put on the Facebook ads, right? It's like, this kid saying like, oh, teach me how to manage my time. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I want Xavier to actually learn how to manage his own time rather than me telling him that, hey, it's 3 o'clock now, you haven't done your homework. I'm like, that's just torture to me because like, I already have so much going on. I don't need that, that mental load of like having to make sure that Xavier finishes his homework.
So I remember you said just now your husband has the traditional mindset, right? So how do you convince him to be on board? Oh,
I paid it out of my own pocket. then my husband was like, what is he doing? Study coach. Then he never asked, so I didn't tell him. I didn't tell him.
Okay,
Some things are just easier.
Right. You gotta choose your battles, right?
Yes, I'll choose my battles. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna fight with you over this. I'll pull it out.
But did he see any changes after?
Yeah. That's it. Like, you can see that, he come back and then like, he would actually, without me asking him, he would have like, because the agreement was he comes back from school, he has about an hour or so to wind down. Then after that he'll be like, oh yeah, I want to go down and, play badminton with my friends later, but I have homework, so I must finish it now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then so I think like, the biggest takeaway I would say, like, even though he's still practicing the skills that he had learned through the program, but like I did see like there is huge improvement in his time management, the quality of his homework, right? He actually pays attention to what he's writing, and then he used to hate taking notes. Like, he never took notes. He always said that I'm very good, I can remember anything. But then it's like when I asked him, he was like, then he would give me like random answers. I'm like, you don't remember, do you?
Right. So did he change things around the house?
For sure.
Right.
Xavier and
what changes?
Like Xavier and I, we don't like argue
at all.
We still argue, but we don't argue as much. And usually when we argue, it's over other things, but not homework.
So I know that you are the one that's mainly in charge of your kids, right? Yeah. But did your husband sense any change with Xavier?
He senses that he's more earnest about earnest in terms of like learning, understanding that, putting more effort. Like, he can sense that Xavier is trying to put in more effort, right? Then also he feels that Xavier also takes more pride in his work. Yeah, then even also it extends to like some of the extracurricular activities that he's doing outside of school, outside of class. So yeah, there is change. Like, it's definitely not just like, a one-dimensional thing. Yeah.
Oh, that's great to hear. So our program also works very closely with MOE schools. Is that something important to you when picking our program?
Because we're in Singapore, then I say yes lah. You can't be outside of the reach of like, MOE, unfortunately, in Singapore. So it's good that, it is that you guys are recognized by MOE, and also because I feel that it gives you guys a more realistic look at what students, the majority of Singaporean students, actually really need here and now, right? Versus like, just like importing some kind of technique that is like very, very hot or popular now overseas, and then bringing it in and then assuming that it's just going to apply and it's going to run and do very well for a majority of Singaporean kids. So I feel that it is helpful and it is an important aspect.
Right. So it's important to you.
Secondary to me,
secondary.
But it helps.
Right. What about you, Carol? Especially since you are like your husband's German, is it important for the program to be from MOE? Or sorry, that our program works with MOE?
Frankly, personally, I don't think that it was a prerequisite for me. Yeah, because maybe on one hand, it's like, shouldn't it be? Right, because this is the curriculum, right, that she has to. But then I would actually wanted to see a lot more that is not within the Singapore context. I think it would be good as well, so for her to be exposed to something a little bit different. I think this is how I feel we can grow. I mean, for me, I come up being Singaporean, I come from the entire system, but I also learn from other systems elsewhere as well. So in order to be a bit more like a all-rounder in a way, and to expand my horizon as well, and I would like that to be able to do so, because the thing is, we have even talk about it between my husband and say, what are the various options if she wants to go to the university, right? So do we want for her, she can choose to go to local university, but what if she wants to opt for another option to go overseas in the future, right? So it's our system tailor-made for an international environment, right? So it would be good for her to have that exposure. So I definitely welcome a different mixture.
So how did our program equip Rory with skills to have more paths open in the future?
I never really thought about that in detail. Well, I guess for me, I find that the approach, in fact, it wasn't as stifling. Just using the words that she said, right? Being in the system, and it's structured, but at the same time, she finds that it's really very one way. Yeah, it's just a top-down kind of approach. This is I'm the teacher. This is the syllabus. You do this worksheet, and then it's when it comes to the subject, you learn about the formulas. For mathematics, learn about the formulas, and then for Chinese, the teacher says, "Oh, you just need to do a lot of reading," right? So that was that, and I find that with that, being for her as a kinesthetic learner, I think she needed a little bit more, that she can feel that she can participate, that she feel that she's able to ask questions, even if it's stupid questions in the teacher's eyes. I felt that in the past she wasn't given that opportunity. The feedback was she asked a lot of questions, sometimes not quality questions. So I was like, what do you mean by quality questions? Yeah, and I also understand the stress for the teachers. They are unable to really give personal attention to the individual student. So they have to just do what they need to do in the short amount of time for each period. And then there are KPIs to hit as well. So I understand all of that, but I said that if we want to have an enrichment, is okay, what can we add on? That's what it's called, enrichment, right? What can we add on? And then bringing in this program, she has a glimpse of a different approach. Then she said, oh yeah, maybe I can look at what are the opportunities out there. So it makes her a little bit more curious as well at the end of the day.
Right. So it sounds like she is learning soft skills. Right, not just the hard things or the academics.
Yeah, but also just for her to be exposed that we're not confined to just Singapore and Singapore standard alone. We are a country. Yeah, we have a certain system, but we also need to be connected to the rest of the world.
Definitely.
Yeah, and then coming from a child of two different cultures. Yeah, well, I would really like her to be exposed to that international environment and also of different approach, so that she can. I would say that to be more open-minded, to hear different opinions. So I feel that she's also become a bit more forgiving in a sense. Yeah, in the past, I have feedback of words like bossiness from the way how she engaged with her classmate, because I think it's also the way we are being taught in school, right? If you are appointed as a team leader, you say, okay, I'm the leader, I have to do this, so you just do whatever I say. Yeah, so being in this, she realized that she has to listen to different types of voices, right? Different opinions, and then how to actually reach the objective, and then in the end, actually to have to hold the team together. Yeah, I realized that actually specifically for this year, for Sec 1, she was able to do so because they are doing a lot of project-based homework. So how do you think she's ready for the future? I guess it's also the attitude, the willingness to explore. Yeah, and the openness to listen to different voices.
Right.
Yeah, and different opinions.
Right. Yeah, I think that's really important, especially when you go to university. There is no more teacher syllabus thing. It's just working with people, and in the real world, that's how life works.
Yeah.
Right?
So then I think that communication skills is definitely a plus.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I feel a lot of Singaporeans today are taught communication skills too late. Too late.
I feel that there isn't programs that's customized. There are programs out there for adults, 100%, a lot. But is there something that is customized to the children, right? And then there's also any customized to teenagers in particular, because they're going through this, trying to find myself phase, right? The rebellious phase. How is she going to navigate that in that part of her life? I think this is the very important part of her life. It's actually the defining years for her.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't have that opportunity, and I hope that I can give her that opportunity to expose her to something like that.
Right. Do you think it's something that she could potentially learn in school?
possibly, but I'm not sure what is being taught in school right now, to be absolutely very frank. I have faith in the Singapore system. Been through it, know that it works. Somehow it's also known as one of the top education system recognized in the world. But I'm not sure whether if it's giving her the right tools. Is it equipping her in the right way? And we're going through this transitional, and MOE is going through this transitional phase of transitioning from the very structured and grade-based system into no exams, into subject-based, which is very much the Western world kind of system, right? It's very subject-based. So it would take them some time to get it right. This is the beginning. They're definitely teething, and for the lack of a better words, my daughter is being put into this group, which are the guinea pigs. They are being tested. So I'm not sure that if she's given what she needs in order to take on the next level of her life. Yeah, I wonder, and because there's no no direction.
All right. Okay. So now that you're done, it's your turn to talk, Heidi. What is a memorable experience you've had with your mentee?
Okay, I think for me personally, probably the younger mentee. Currently, I'm facing slightly more challenges because I think that maybe it's the mentee and mentor relationship. I think it's something that's very important in particularly for like our classes. If it is strong, it can likely motivate the student much more. Yeah, for instance, for my older student, there was one check-in session I recall where I was supposed to end it because the 30 minutes is up, and then immediately she was like, "Oh, but so fast." And then and then I was like, "Wow, that's very cute." Okay, yeah, and I could really see how, because we have a strong relationship, so it really motivates her as well. Like for instance, I was going through this exercise with her, like we get to pen down what are some things that motivates her to study, and then she gets to paste it around her house to remind herself. And then for one of it, she wrote like my name. Yeah, so I thought that was very sweet. And yeah, so I think that having a good relationship with my mentee and developing that from the start, or having our personalities match, and that's also quite like a big thing. Yeah. So that really helps in getting her to do the task well and enjoying the lessons also. Yeah. Though part reason, I also feel that maybe it's because the younger mentee is slightly younger also, so maybe that's why I'm facing a little bit more challenge in connecting with her and putting myself at the level of younger student and understanding what might be their challenges when they are studying, why might they not want to study, or maybe studying is not even within like their world right now. So yeah.
You just met her yesterday, right? So did you manage to learn more?
I did, and it was actually after meeting her yesterday, I realized that she is someone who really values her family relationships. And she's actually quite positive in the way that she shares. So I think that for her, I recall that she mentioned that she's very grateful to her mother because she says that
she's just B3, by the way.
She's B3, and she says she's very grateful to her mother for like helping her go through this process of becoming someone who is like useful, becoming someone like a better person. And even though she cannot see how studying would help her right now, she is okay with, like, she understands if her parents says that, you'll understand sometime in the future. Like, she's able to accept that. But honestly, as a P3 student, I understand that she's also very playful right now. Like, maybe she wants playtime right after she studies, and sometimes she will be like, I don't want to study. I totally get that. So that's why I'm hoping that I can support her by being someone who understands her point of view.
Okay, so before going through the program, the first thing we did is to, of course, bring you over for a consultation call so that we can share with you the diagnostic test, talk to you about Rory's problems or your problems as well. So do you think that this is something useful? Do you think that this is something that really helped you, or is there any parts that you feel could have been done without?
Well, it's definitely helpful because, frankly, when I saw the advertisement, right, I was already at my wit's end. Yeah, to the extent it's like, I just want to try anything that can promise to give me certain result, because I was really desperate. I would say super desperate, and I was in tears almost every day, lying in bed. So I said, okay, this is my last ditch, really my last ditch, and then see if it works. And it's like, well, I also realized that whatever that didn't work before was because they didn't find out what I needed. I need a customized program for my child. Yeah. So with that question to do a diagnostic, I see that it's a welcoming change, because I need you to understand my child, so how you can devise your program, right? Because all the programs are customizable. Because if you're going to put everything into one brochure, right, it's like cookie cutter approach. Then what's the difference? There's no difference from the existing, that you can get from school and the typical tuition center. So I need something different. Because if I keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect a different result, it's completely nuts, right? So I need something that's customized. So it was a welcoming thing. Yes, it's a bit tedious, but I felt that, they took time. You guys took time to understand what I needed as a mom. So I need someone to come in to fill in the gap and to understand what my child needs. Yeah. So that was a process I felt that it is required. Yeah.
All right, yeah, that's great. So what about you, Alexia? Especially since I know you're a very busy mom. Anytime you can get called in.
I mean, it's like for me, I felt that because I went in with an open mind as well. So I was just kind of like, okay, like if this is what needs to be done, sure, I'm happy to go with the flow, right? But then it's like, if coming, like when I was telling my friends about this program though, a lot of them would be like, oh, do you get a free trial? Do they set certain papers? I'm like, no, this is not your regular, tuition center. It's more like, a mentor program to teach your kids like skills to actually like be a little bit more self-sufficient and self-efficient. So they were not very, I would say they weren't very convinced, because it's very so-called outside of the box. And also because like they didn't understand where that standard, or like they probably never even heard of like, oh, there's actually things like that you can learn, like study, or like why you need to be, so special, So I think like, because you guys are, I would say, in the forefront of like, skills-based studying, right? And it's what I feel the children really need, in this time and age.
So which part of the process would you think is important for parents to see first before they make a decision or they take one step forward?
I think like having like a clear layout of what are the skills that, your kids could potentially learn in the modules, like a more detailed breakdown of the modules. I think that would be very helpful.
So thanks to all the mummies here, and Heidi, of course, for chiming in. Lots of golden nuggets here. So thank you for coming, and we'll see you in the next episode.